Do I look better with warm tone or do I look better with cool tone? Obviously, I can't wink very well with that eye. Ignore that. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's video. I'm really excited because I'm going to bring to you two different eye looks. I did two different looks today to kind of bring to you the differences between warm and cool tones and how they translate on the eye. And so I hope that you enjoy this little tutorial of me just doing eyeshadow, but not only that, but explaining a bit of color story and how that works. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, I got a haircut, and this is me with straight hair. Yeah, I really like my new little cut. I tend to be a bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl, so I didn't plan to get my hair cut that like this much, and then I was just like, you know what, I just want this, and I pointed out a picture on Pinterest and it was a shorter cut, and she was like, you want it shoulder length? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so this is what we came up with, and I think that it's fun. It's really fun for summer, and it's going to be a lot easier to take care of. So without further ado, let's stop jabbering about my hair and let's get into the tutorial. Today you have found me in a colder, rainier day, and I decided to get some coffee. I promise there's coffee in there. And today I wanted to do a video about eyeshadows. If you've been watching me, and if you haven't seen my last video, I will link it below so you can go back and watch it. But in that video, I had mentioned 3 palettes. I talked about, I don't know why I'm holding these brushes. I talked about these palettes, and this is the Fame palette. I will open it up and show you. This is a very cool toned, muted palette. And then this is my old Arabesque palette, tried and true, love this thing. And that's what it looks like. It's got a lot of red tones, orange tones, and it's just a deeper, reddier, warmer eyeshadow palette. And then I talked about this purple palette that is basically like a very bright, happy palette. And I love purples. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to do this side of my face with warm tones and this side of my face with cool tones. A bit of a compare and contrast. I'm going to use my Too Faced Shadow Insurance primer. I always like to prime. You probably know that by now. The other day I did not set my primer. It means I didn't put a skin colored base powder over top of this primer, and it's not super sticky, but it's just sticky enough that I felt like that when I didn't set it, when I applied my other shadows, it kind of got patchy, and I didn't really like that. So I really do believe that setting it, it keeps it from being too intense too fast, and it's more user friendly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this brush. I got this at Target, and it is a Sonia Kashuk brush. It's just called the blending crease brush, and I love it because it's very soft. It's at a nice shape and a nice size. And then I also like to use this brush. It is a Real Techniques brush, and I believe that this one in particular was a limited edition version that they had out, but it's similar, I would say, a little bit. It's a little bit flatter. It's pinched here, so that way it's a bit longer. I'm going to take a color from the Arabesque palette. It's just going to be a basic nude color here. This one's called Avon, and I'm going to just take my crease brush here and apply a bit of that. And I like to tap off the excess. I don't know if you can see the powder flying, but when it's really powdery, which this palette tends to be very powdery and very loosely packed, it tends to apply a lot of pigment and a lot of powder really fast and can get out of control. So that's typically why I tap off the brush after I dip in. Now I'm gonna take, let's see, we're gonna play. Let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this red color, we're gonna go straight in, and I'm gonna use this brush. We're just going to tap real good so that way I can control how much of this red that I want to apply. Just gonna put that on my crease. And when I talk about my crease, it's basically where your eye socket goes in right here, which might seem kind of funny. For me, I don't have a crease and I don't have, I have like a monolid, and you can see I have like a baby crease there when I do this. Anyway, I have to create my own crease basically. So, I just kind of created a nice rounded shape there, and I'm careful not to go too strong on the inner corner because I don't want to darken the inner part of my eyes here. Now I'm going to take this palette here, and I'm going to go in with this brush and make sure that there's no leftover powder on it. I'm going to go into this color called Clubhouse, and this palette is less powdery, so I really don't even have to like tap it off. Now you see how that almost didn't seem to apply much? It's just because it's a muted shade. It's a cool tone. It's almost gray, and I love it. And you can build it up. You can always build up color, but if you put too much on too fast, then it's hard to take it down. Alright, so you see that? See, this is very warm and this is very cool. And I keep going into it trying to build it up, but I mean, it's just the nature of the color. It's the nature of it being a cool tone. And one thing is I find that it creates more of a shadow, whereas this creates color. Trying to describe shadow is actually a rather difficult thing, because shadow is just a dark version of whatever is already there, whereas color and a lot of pigment is actually like a color, instead of creating like this illusion of just, you know, something shadowing your face and covering certain parts of your face. How in the world do you describe shadow? Anyway, coffee time. Coffee time. So, now I'm going to take NYX glitter glue. I love using this stuff because it intensifies my shimmers. And I'm just going to place that on the lower part of my eye there, basically where it creases, where my eyelid creases right there. A lot of people put it all over their entire lid, but because I have so little space to work with here, I only put it on the lower part there. So now we're gonna go into this It's My Pleasure palette. And I'm gonna take, on this cool side, I'm actually gonna take a mixture of Chicklet and this color here called Do or Dough. And we're gonna put this Chicklet shade on the outside. I like to put the deeper colors on the outside because it creates dimension. And then I'm going to take my other finger here, dip into Do or Dough, and put it on the rest of the eye. And then I'm going to take Chicklet again and kind of mix it there. Back in with Do or Dough on top, kind of mix those colors together. Now, that looks a little crazy, right? So what we're going to do, because it's so jarring, I'm going to go into the Fame palette, and I'm actually going to grab this Stardom shade, and see how it's slightly warmer than this shade? I'm going to take that and try to kind of warm up this right in between, right over top that jarring line of shadow that I just applied, so that way it kind of softens it and it creates more of a gradient or an ombre effect, if you will. You know, I believe I'm going to go into this shade called Pieces of Me. It is a shimmer pearly shade, but it's a dark shade, and it's a dark cool tone shade, and I'm going to just apply it right here. Radar. And it's almost too difficult to see on camera, but what it's doing is it's creating a bit of a deeper outer corner there. It's blended, so you can't really tell when one color starts and when one color stops, but if you look closely, you can tell that this side is a warmer color than this side. That's typically what I like to do. I like to gradiate my colors. I like to gradiate down so that way it's not jarring, and I like to gradiate this way from lighter to darker, or warmer to cooler depending on the shades that I'm using, so that way it creates a cohesive eye look, but it's not all one color. If I just did one color all over the lid, it's very jarring, and that's why I like to kind of gradiate it. Now let's go back to this side. I'm gonna go back into my glitter glue. I didn't apply it on the other side because it would have dried out by now, so I just did one side at a time. I'm definitely going into this color called Bare Minimum, and such a pretty color. You know what? I think I'm gonna take this color called Earth Shine. It's a lot lighter, but it's a warm tone, and it's also a very sheer shade. You see how this color is very opaque, and this one is just like iridescent, very sheer and shimmery. I'm just gonna pop that on the inside. Interesting. It's interesting. So I've played with these colors a bit, but I don't know if I've ever quite done these combinations yet. So I'm gonna go back into this Arabesque palette. I want to take this light shade here, this orange shade called Satin, and I want to kind of melt it together so it's not jarring, as I said. I think I'm gonna go into Melodrama and deepen this up. All right, serious talk now. I'm gonna get really close. So here's an example of why I like cool tones better on my skin, because they fade better. So there's this clear line that you can tell where I applied that crease color. I did the same exact technique. I even used more powder on this side, and it just blends better, and it's less of a defined line. I don't want it to look like, okay, I started here. I know I wanted to create a crease, in a sense. Cool tone on my skin kind of gives a better gradient than the warm tone. While I really love this warmer color, I still think that this probably looks better. What do you guys think? Just ask you guys and get your opinion. What do you think? Do you like this side better, or do you like this side better? What I'm gonna do is I'm going to put eyeliner on and mascara to kind of finish off the look. And it's summertime, it's springtime, but it's hot, and I have been wearing less face base makeup, and I have some skin imperfections, but you know what? Your girl don't really care. It's okay to let the natural skin poke through, because sometimes I just like to have my skin more natural, and it's I'm leaning more natural, and I say that with a bunch of purple on top of my eyelids as if purple's a natural color, and it's not. But what I mean by that is I'm leaning toward less thick, cakey makeup. Like I said, I'm gonna go off camera, do my eyeliner and mascara, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and I've got my lashes on and a bit of eyeliner on, and it finalizes the look. And what do you think? I need to know your opinion. Do I look better with warm tone, or do I look better with cool tone? Obviously, I can't wink very well with that eye. Ignore that. Yeah, this was fun. I hope that you enjoyed this. I thought it was kind of cool to show you what it's like to have two different tones of shadow on your eyes and how they can make a difference. I think that it's kind of cool to see how this shade pulls a lot bluer and this one pulls a lot pinkier, warmer, redder, and the differences that they can make. Now, from far away, you probably can't see that much of a difference, but up close, clearly you can see that this is a cooler, more vibrant color, and this is a warmer, more pinkier color, but they look different on my skin, and they give me a different vibe, I guess you will, if you will. You guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will come back for more, because I've got more videos coming to you shortly, and subscribe to my channel.